All right, we're now moving on to the second category of Herb's lukewarm seat, and that's dating.
This is where I'm out.
I'm just here so I don't get fined. On to question number 1. Open relationships versus exclusive. Which do you prefer and why?
Oh, I'm starting. Fuck me. Let's do... I've never been in an open relationship, so I guess committed.
I haven't been in one where I've openly told the girl that, hey, this is an open relationship, but I've casually dated girls for long periods of time where the expectation is that it wasn't exclusive.
I would say that until you guys have the conversation, you're not exclusive.
Yeah.
Like, you're allowed, there's nothing wrong for either person to date other people if no one said, like, we're exclusive.
But no one talks about it because it's uncomfortable.
It's a hard conversation to have.
Yeah.
And, like, I don't know, like, I haven't traditionally been monogamous where it's like, I'm not going to force that conversation down anybody's throat.
You want to hear my hot take on exclusivity, though?
Yeah.
I've thought about it a lot, and I think what I've come to the conclusion of myself is that the main core benefit of being exclusive is that you don't have to worry about the other person hooking up with other people, which is basically a way to prevent jealousy.
Yeah, that's fair.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, that's my big problem where I'm like, oh yeah, like I guess not open relationships because I don't like people touching my things. I have like only child syndrome like that. Yeah. So if I see someone as like my partner, it would it would really bother me to know they're being shared. Yeah. Or maybe you get over the mental block.
I also have a thing where I think jealousy is like an ugly emotion and I want to learn to control it. And I don't want to I don't know. I think it's kind of like lazy just to avoid it. So I look at it as kind of a challenge to like overcome the jealousy.
Yeah. That's the mature way to approach it. Like, I think in that sense, that's how you become into open relationships. Like, your initial thought is to freak out when they're like with someone, then you're like,
then you think about it.
And then I think you just kind of overcome it. And then all of a sudden it's a little less and less and less over time. Like suddenly like you don't even give a fuck.
Yep.
And you're free to do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah. We don't have time, but.
You sure? I mean, we have plenty of time.
We have 10 minutes. Moving up the scale of domesticity.
We'll come back to it.
We'll do a whole podcast on open relationships.
Oh, because if it doesn't come up again, I just make sure we talk about the Cro-Mag. I want to just talk about the men's psychological.
Yeah, we'll come back to this.
We'll come back to this.
Yeah, go move on.
How long would you have to date someone before deciding to move in together?
Rough. I mean, I think a good amount of time would be 2 years, but it would be more of a decision of I would have to be 100%. Like, I wouldn't do it if I thought, like, I wouldn't say, oh, let's try this. For me, I would have to be certain that this is the person I'm going to be with for a really, really long time. And I would have to be very comfortable with the fact that I am genuinely past my stage of wanting to be single and wanting to mess around. And, I would have to know.
No, I'm with you. I think I hate putting a number on it because every relationship's different. But I do think that, like, you get to a point in a relationship where you kind of have this stage within yourself where you're like, look, this person's great. I feel everything about them. I want to be with them. But it's like, where we go from here? Like, am I going to marry you or am I not going to marry you?
Yeah.
And so I think that's kind of the idea of, like,
if there's any doubt in that answer, wouldn't move in.
Exactly. Like, that's where I think living together is the testing ground for, like, will we be able to survive a marriage together forever? So I think, I would say if I had to give a number, 2 years about that point. If you can stay with someone for 2 years, there's ideally nothing's going to change. And then probably another 2 to 5 years of living potentially together to feel out, like, is this the real thing? I'm just ballparking. Like, every relationship is different. Every situation is different. Like, I've seen people do it in 6 months. But me personally, it's like, we'll see.
All right.
Do you want to get married? Why or why not?
No, I'm indifferent to it. I do want eventually, like, kind of like a life partner because you can't do this forever. It has an expiration date to it. You don't want to be the old guy in the bar, But
some chicks dig old dudes.
Yeah.
You could be a sugar dad, a DILF. No, I'm with you too. Like, I'm just not the kind of person that, like, I'm already getting tired and I'm like, I'm barely fucking 30. Like, I don't have the energy to hang out the rest of my life. But I'm also like, the idea of having a partner to spend forever with sounds more attractive to me than spending it alone. Like, I'd be bummed
yeah.
to be alone.
Yeah. But whether the marriage thing happens or not, I'm indifferent too. I could be talked into it.
I was going to say, it's like the marriage, like the other one that's a popular one is like the partnership, that it's just like, see where it goes.
I'm indifferent. I'm open to either
I'm
option.
open to. I wouldn't hate it, but I also wouldn't mind marriage. Unless she wants to take half, then get the fuck out. Sign a prenup.
Go on.
Following that, do you want children? Why or why not?
I'll answer this one first because you answered. And I feel like you're thinking about it. I do want kids, but I'm in no rush.
Yeah.
I also wouldn't mind having like a couple $1 million in the bank because from 0 to 18, those kids are fucking money sucks.
Yeah.
About $1 million. I think it's about $1 million per kid on average to raise. So I would not mind spending that money on a couple houses or a house or a big boat.
Yeah.
But
I'm not.
I'm going to say yes. I want kids.
Yeah. I'm going to say no. I'm aware that I changed my mind about things and I could change my mind about that later, but I value a life of minimal responsibility and I don't like feeling restricted or tied down to things. Like I work remote. I try to live a very free life.
Very McConaughey of you.
Yeah. And I think I didn't travel as that much when I was in my 20s, and I kind of would like the idea of having a life partner and just being one of those couples that has a lot of money and just travels a lot.
I love
and
that too.
Lives the kind of a bigger lifestyle that having kids doesn't allow. That's kind of what I envision.
I wouldn't hate that either. That's kind of one of the things that lets us be like, if my wife turns to me and is like, I don't want kids. I want to just like travel and live an amazing life. Could get on board with that.
And kids don't really bring me joy that much.
But eventually, I think kids might happen. So I'm in no rush. I feel like it'll happen eventually, but yeah.
Yeah.
God, Herb's rushing.
Herb has dinner plans.
Dinner reservations imminent.